2020 2024 increase. Guys, we got some great news to share with you guys. Welcome. Breaking news in the last couple of hours, in nail-biting turn of events, President Joe Biden just signed a very crucial bill just hours ago on Saturday to extend the government funding bill for a stopgap bill 45 days, essentially narrowly averting a federal shutdown with only 1 hour to spare. And I call this, guys. You guys have watched my previous lives and videos. I told you guys that they were going to wait till the last minute to do this thing. And this would have affected Social Security recipients, Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, everyone who is receiving Social Security benefits. Now, here's the thing, pretty much as the dust is settling, let's go ahead and dive into the latest developments, adding an additional layer of suspense to this whole political thriller, while keeping our focus on the eagerly awaited Social Security cost of living adjustment update. Now, the recent relief of, from the aversion of the government shutdown, it pretty much like reverberated through the whole nation, sparing millions of Americans from potentially facing a lot of distress related to their Social Security benefits. And among them, many concerns that hung in the balance during this whole government standoff: the fate of Social Security, supplemental security income, also known as SSI, and of course, Social Security disability benefits, or Social Security disability insurance, which is SSDI benefits, remained a very critical point of concern. And so since this came out, I wanted to make sure, to jump on here immediately and share this major update with you guys, because it's not just the House of Representatives, it's not just the Senate signing off on this. President Biden just signed off on this major stopgap bill just hours ago. And I didn't see anything out here yet giving you guys the latest update on this whole recent bill that has been signed off and approved by President Biden. So I wanted to make sure to share this information with you guys so that you're in the know with the latest information. Now, we have a lot to cover in today's video. Basically, I've got a lot of things that I've been collecting that I do want to share with you guys. So let's get right into this. By the way, if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Drop a quick like for the video. And also, drop a quick comment. Let me know if you can hear me. I never know if I can be heard. I can't hear myself. I think you guys know the deal. So just let me know if you can hear me in the comment section down below. So basically, we're going to deep dive into this whole, all of the different implications of the government shutdowns on these vital safety nets for millions of Americans, exploring. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, Sheila, Lucy, Commissioner Keeley, Mary Winter, Safeway Girl, Cindy Hardigy, Peaches McDowell, Jean Arnold. I really appreciate you guys. Dallas Haskin Gaming. I see you, Gwen Thompson. So, let's deep dive into this and let's see where we're at today, right? So basically, President Joe Biden, he praised Congress for, pulling together at the 11th hour to approve this bill. And we knew that they were going to do this, right? This essentially ensured that millions of hardworking Americans would be spared the unnecessary pain and, of course, the disruption caused by a government shutdown. With bipartisan support, believe it or not, both the House and the Senate. Because of this crisis was averted, albeit just in the nick of time on a Saturday. I'm really surprised that these guys came back from their recess, forever taking vacations, Congress, and collecting a check in spite of it. They came together on a Saturday and actually made this thing happen. So the whole bill signing ceremony, which took place with the clock ticking relentlessly, it really signifies a triumph of cooperation in an era often marred by political polarization, right? And, while the nation basically can rest a little bit easier now, this collective sigh of relief, President Biden's words serves as a reminder that such crises should never have even happened in the first place. Like, why did they have to wait to the last minute, putting everyone at risk, financially at risk, right? And one of the most immediate and direct concerns related to the government shutdown was its potential impact on the annual Social Security cost of living adjustment, the COLA, right? So the COLA is a very crucial mechanism that makes sure that Social Security, SSI, and SSDI benefits keep pace with the rising cost of living. And, had this government shutdown materialized, the announcement for the COLA update scheduled for October 12th might have been postponed. And so that would have been a big deal. And, such a delay could have had, left beneficiaries in the dark about any kind of potential increases in their benefits. This would have caused, lots of anxiety and, of course, frustration. Now, the COLA not only reflects the economic reality of beneficiaries, but it also serves as a tangible symbol of the government's commitment to supporting those who depend on these programs. So this is a big deal, right? So just hours before signing the bill, guys, the Senate overwhelmingly supported the proposal in a bipartisan vote of 88-9. And let me know if you guys want me to find out who those 9 people are in the Senate that voted against the bill. Maybe those guys shouldn't be reelected. Let me know if you guys want me to find out who those people are. They essentially comfortably passed or surpassed the 60 vote requirement or threshold that's needed in order to pass this thing, right? 9 senators, believe it or not, all 9 senators were Republicans that opposed this bill, raising a lot of questions about their stance in the face of impending government turmoil, right? Why do you think that the Republicans were against this bill? Let me know if you guys want me to find out who those Republicans were that voted against this thing. So Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, he lauded the bipartisan effort that ensured a government shutdown was averted. The Senate's resounding support put pressure on the House to act swiftly and decisively, and with much needed urgency. I'm really glad they made this thing happen. Are you guys happy? How are you guys feeling about this? And I'm really surprised that I almost said government Biden. I'm really surprised that President Biden jumped on this thing so quickly. Thank you guys for confirming you can hear me. I see you, Todd, John, Gene, Neal, Sir Wolf Attitude, Little Wing, Josh McDaniel, Commissioner Keeley, Jen Coldwell Banker, La Costa Peterson, Mexico. I really appreciate you guys in the comments. So the potential disruption of benefit payments was a looming specter during the whole government shutdown standoff, guys. Social Security, SSI and ssdi benefits, they represent a lifetime. They represent a lifeline of, for millions of Americans, millions of individuals who are covering essential living expenses such as their housing costs, their rents, their mortgages, their groceries, and of course their health care with these Social Security payments. So obviously it's a big deal for a lot of people, especially those who are living on fixed income. Now, fixed income could mean you're living on Social Security, maybe your 401k, maybe your passive income investment portfolio from IRAs or investment properties. Maybe you have rental properties. I don't know what you have, but Social Security is very important for the vast majority of retirees at this point. Now, fortunately, the bipartisan bill's passage made sure that the agencies that are responsible for dispersing these benefits and dispersing these checks, primarily the Social Security Administration and, of course, the Department of the Treasury, they're actually the ones cutting the checks, continue to operate without interruption, right? So what this means is that beneficiaries can basically breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief knowing that their financial support will continue, right? Is it enough? Are you getting enough in your Social Security check? You guys let me know in the comment section down below. By the way, guys, for those of you joining just now, if you didn't catch it from the beginning, President Biden just signed off on a major stopgap funding bill, which is essentially a great sigh of relief for anyone who's receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI. You can certainly rewind this video and watch it from the beginning. Also, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel and also share this message with anyone who's receiving Social Security, because this is vital information for them and it's breaking news, guys. However, the mere possibility of a disruption kind of serves as a stark reminder of the precarious position of beneficiaries during the times of political uncertainty. And basically these politicians, I'm dealing with some sinuses right now. Almost had a sneeze. These politicians are really leveraging how badly Americans need Social Security and SSI benefits, and they were willing to almost have a government shutdown as a result of this. That's not cool. That is not cool. Meanwhile, Politicians, their paychecks were not at risk of being stopped. So it's a little selfish if you ask me. However, so, but this just really underscores the need for comprehensive planning and the need for comprehensive financial planning. Alternatives to Social Security, maybe a home-based business, maybe some passive income from real estate investment trusts, through any of your favorite brokerages, maybe your M1 Finance, Fidelity, E-Trade, Robinhood. But if you're solely depending on Social Security for your income to pay your rent, to pay your mortgage payments, to pay your electricity bills and whatnot, your car payments, your student loans. I know some people in their 60s are still paying student loans. So, this is very, very important. Now, this just really underscores the problem. Now, so again, now the House of Representatives have previously passed this bill with an overwhelming bipartisan vote of 335 to 91. Now, this unity, if you want to call it that, because you still had 91 people in the House of Representatives that voted against this thing, but this unity essentially showcased the urgency of the situation, and it sent a very clear message to lawmakers about the necessity of action. Shockingly, this thing ended up passing on a Saturday. But it is noteworthy that 90 House Republicans, Republicans again, what is going on, guys? Again, it's noteworthy that 90 House Republicans opposed the bill, revealing some additional divisions within the chamber. So, is this enough, guys? I mean, they signed off on this thing, but is it really enough? Check your bank accounts. Check your bank balances. Look at your direct deposits. It doesn't matter if you're getting a check through and you use Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase or Wells Fargo or Truist, any of these different banks, it won't matter. The check is the same. And my question to you guys, is your direct deposit enough? Is it enough? So the bill introduced by House Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy, it's extending funding until November 17th, and it allocates $16 billion for disaster aid. So what does this mean? This means that the government's doing what the government's always done, kicking the can down the road. So what we can do is, October is a big month, and I told you it was going to be a big month. It's October 1st. It is October 1st. You already know what's happening on October 4th. There's a lot more scheduled for the month of October, but guess what? November is now setting up to be the next big month. Because why? Well, this is only extending funding until November 17th. And it's allocating $16 billion for disaster aid. So we're going to have another big dog and pony show and another big exaggeration of this problem as we get closer and closer to November 17th. Now, despite its broad support, this bill faced a lot of criticism for lacking additional funding for the Ukraine, a point of contention among the hard right lawmakers. They still want to send more money over to the Ukraine. Can you believe this? So the absence of Ukraine funding in this bill pretty much ignited significant frustration among certain segments of Congress. Can you guess why? Why do they want to send so much money over to the Ukraine? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Why do they want to send so much money to the Ukraine? Why is that a priority? You see how much more of a priority it is over nearly anything else. So while this omission was cause for concern, President Joe Biden, he reassured the nation that supplemental appropriations bills to support the Ukraine will be on the horizon. So in other words, they're planning on sending some more money over there. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Should we send more money to the Ukraine? Have we sent enough, or should we send more? Because if we send more, just know that there's a possibility that some of that funding could come from your future benefits. I'm just saying. It's a possibility. This debate over Ukraine funding really just highlights the complex interplay of foreign policy and domestic concerns within the whole legislative process. And it further underscores the delicate balancing act that lawmakers have to perform whenever they're allocating these resources to international crises. So the passage of this very critical bill also exposed power struggles within the House. Speaker Kevin McCarthy, found himself navigating a minefield of potential interests and allegiances, especially within his own party. This is Kevin McCarthy's bill, mind you. He's a Republican. They didn't even support him. Like, what is going on here? So the drama within the House really serves as a stark reminder of the intricacies of political maneuvering in American politics. And honestly, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine just the other day, and he was telling me that he believes that these politicians, for the most part, most of them are not really in it for the people. But what me and my buddy were in 100% agreement on was that the only thing we know for sure that these politicians in office are there for is to benefit themselves. Anything else beyond that, if they happen to help the American people, cool. But that's really more of a byproduct and less of a priority, in my opinion. So, but let me know what you guys think. Now, we got 502 people in here right now. We only have a couple hundred likes. Show some love in the comments, or show some love on that like button, guys. Hit the like button. Let me know if you guys are enjoying and appreciating the content that I put together for you guys. I like to keep you guys up to date. I love to make sure my community knows what the heck is going on and coming down the pipeline, because Lord knows we need to know what's really going on, right? So while Kevin McCarthy expressed disappointment for the lack of support from a very substantial portion of his conference. I mean, 90 Republicans not supporting him. That's a pretty freaking big deal, right? He also noted the display of the hard right Republicans, right? He didn't like it. He didn't like it. And this created an environment where, compromise seemed unattainable, further pushing the situation to the brink of a government shutdown. It's a big deal, guys. So in a very rare session, because, Congress doesn't like to work very much, and they certainly don't like to work on the weekends, following the House's failure to pass Kevin McCarthy's initial stopgap bill, it really highlighted the high stakes that were involved in this thing. And the hard right members of Congress who were steadfast in their opposition to a continuing resolution even hinted at the possibility of ousting Speaker McCarthy if he cooperated with the Democrats in order to keep the government running, guys. The Republicans were prepared to basically kick Kevin McCarthy out of Congress, kick him, or at least kick him out of the House Speaker position, because he may have been working a little bit too closely with the Democrats, as quiet as it's kept. Is that cool? I mean, I don't know if that's cool. But you guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised that, his fellow Republicans turned their back on him like that. Now, despite the criticisms and the threats to Kevin McCarthy's leadership, Speaker McCarthy downplayed the threats to his speakership, basically emphasizing the need for rational decision making in the best interest of the nation. Now, I really don't blame him for trying to downplay the whole risk to his job, because, who wants to highlight that? But let's be honest, guys. Kevin McCarthy could very well have been booted out by his own party. So that's where we are. So, but, throughout this whole political roller coaster, the White House consistently sounded the alarms about this whole potential consequence of a government shutdown. President Joe Biden and his administration made it very clear that such an event would ultimately disrupt the lives of hundreds of thousands of government workers. Not just those receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI. We get that. That's for sure, right? But let's not forget about the federal government workers ultimately jeopardizing vital nutritional programs, also delaying critical disaster relief projects. This thing was huge. So the White House, warning really underscores the real world impacts of political brinkmanship, and it really highlights the essential role of responsible governance in ensuring the well-being of the American people. Yeah. So where do we go from here? Now, as we reflect on this latest chapter in the ongoing political drama, it's very critical that we remember the Social Security COLA update announcement. It still remains on track for October 12th. This is yet another thing going on in October, right? So, with the nation's, while we pretty much breathe a sigh of relief This is kind of a temporary sigh of relief, right? Millions of Americans still eagerly await this vital update that directly affects their financial futures. Social Security, COLA increases, SSI, SSDI, all this is hinged on what that COLA increase is going to look like from a percentage standpoint. We've heard all sorts of numbers across the spectrum: 3%, 3.2%, 3.3%, 3.4%. What is it? We won't know until October 12th. So mark your calendars, guys. And so while we kind of dodged a little bit of a bullet with this recent crisis, it's still very important to understand that these government shutdowns, they keep coming back like a bad penny. You guys, how many government shutdown threats have we seen in the last in the last 12 months? Let's just say in the last 12 months, how many potential government shutdowns have we seen? You remember when Janet Yellen came on not too long ago? I want to say it was just before spring, and we were on the verge of a government shutdown then. This stuff is wild, guys, and it just keeps coming back. It just keeps coming back. And you know who ultimately ends up paying the price? I think you guys know. Folks depending on Social Security, people depending on SSI, people depending on SSDI to keep the lights on. And at the end of the day, most people have paid into the system. So, I mean, like, these are our neighbors, guys. These are our friends. These are our family members. And they rely on these checks like clockwork. So if anything happens to those checks, I mean, think about it. Put yourself in their shoes. What would happen if your next paycheck didn't come in on time? What would happen if your paycheck didn't come in on time? How long could you survive? What would you do about it? Right? I would love to hear from you guys. What would you do about it? So it's how they make plans. It's how they buy groceries. It's how they cover the doctor's bills. It's how they keep their lights on. It's how they cool their house in the summertime and heat their home in the wintertime. So, sure, we got a breather this time, with this new bill. But I don't want you guys to get too distracted. The big problem is that our government keeps kicking the can down the road with these short-term funding fixes. Why not? Whatever happened to the Social Security 2100 Act? I mean, Social Security clearly needs reform. It's kind of like trying to patch up a leaky roof with some chewing gum. It might work for a little while, but, it's no long-term solution. So, people who stand up for these programs are shouting from the rooftops. We need a real solid plan here. Something that won't leave people hanging every time some deadline comes around. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the next deadline has already been set. They just confirmed that the next deadline is going to be November 17th. So that's going to be the next problematic date. Mark your calendars. November 17th is going to be the next major date for the next potential government shutdown. So everyone's going to celebrate today. Everyone's going to celebrate tomorrow. Come Monday, you're going to see it all in the newspapers. Biden signed, Biden signed, Biden signed, right? But at the end of the day, after about, a couple of days, people are going to forget. And before you know it, you're going to bump up against November 17th. Or as we get closer and closer to November 17th, I guarantee it's going to happen again. They're going to wait until like November 16th at like 10:30 at night while everyone's on pins and needles and end up signing it and kicking the can down the road again. They're just going to keep doing this. So let's talk about the toll that this mess takes on people's heads and their hearts. I mean, just imagine living under the constant threat of your income disappearing overnight. How does that make you feel? Do you feel good knowing that the government has the power to just take your income away overnight? And this is why more and more people are looking to create these home-based businesses from home. They want to generate income from their homes. They want to increase their net worth and increase their household income from whatever means necessary. They want to make their own money. They don't want to depend on Social Security because Social Security keeps screwing them. They paid into Social Security, and Social Security doesn't want to pay them back. I mean, God forbid you're getting SSI and SSDI, and they want to cap your assets I mean, and you guys know that, right? They're capping your SSI assets at $2,000 if you're single, and a $3,000 cap if you're married. So heaven forbid you own a house and have any kind of equity in it. Heaven forbid you have any kind of investments in your IRA or your Roth IRA portfolios. Heaven forbid that. Like, it's like they don't want you to even have an emergency fund. This is basic personal finance 101 here. And they don't want you to do that. So it's like they don't want to pay you, but they also want you so poor and so broke that you can't even fend for yourself. So that leaves people in such a vulnerable position. That ain't cool. What's up, Gaines Creations? I see you. Mr. TN Living, I see you. IRD, Mysterious Remnant, I see you guys in the comments. We got 523 people in here tonight. Drop me some likes, guys. Show some love in the like section, in the comment section as well. And of course, if you're not following me on Twitter, what are you waiting for? Make sure to follow me on Twitter. I see a lot of new faces on there, but yeah, I'm gonna leave my Twitter in the comment section down below. So go ahead and check out my Twitter. Follow if you're not already following. I'd love to have you on there, and that way you guys don't miss out on any of the latest stuff that's going on, because there's so much coming out, and it's like these updates are coming out faster and faster. So I don't want you guys to miss out on this. Yeah, so it's kind of like a never-ending horror movie. And the monsters are just the monsters, they're not under the bed. They're in Congress. And all this anxiety and the insecurity, it doesn't go away when the shutdown threat goes away. It's still there. It sticks around. It's just it's pretty much gnawing at people's well-being. Like, how do you feel thinking about this whole government shutdown? Like, does it make you feel good? What's up, Mr. Fired? I see you. Princess Tanya in the comments. So, it's terrible. So what's the bottom line here? Well, the bottom line is, yes, President Biden has signed. He sure did sign. The House and the Senate have all signed off on this stopgap government bill. We dodged the bullet this time. But it's high time for our leaders to step up, to do some real planning here, and to quit playing games with people's lives and their livelihoods. I don't think that's asking for too much. And if I'm asking for too much, let me know, guys. Let me know if I'm asking for too much. Let me know if I'm asking too much. This is good news. President Biden signed stopgap funding bill to avert U.S. shutdown. This is good news. Joe Biden signed a bill on Saturday to extend government funding for 45 days. 45 days. That means a month and a half. This is averting a federal shutdown with just an hour to spare. How many of you guys ever watch James Bond movies? Like, I'm a huge James Bond fan. And honestly, one of my favorite James Bond characters is Daniel Craig. That dude's a beast. Bio 1656. I appreciate the super chat. How do you feel about the stunt by Bowman? I don't know what's going on with Bowman. Fill me in. There's a lot going on. I don't know about the stunt by Bowman. But James Bond movies, it's always like some high suspense movie. And at the end of the day, it's, there's something that needs to be done by a certain time. Maybe it's defusing a bomb or something like that. And it's like one of these James Bond movies where, they wait to the last minute. And here we are with Congress. They waited to the very last minute to approve this bill, to sign off on this bill. And it's funny because the Senate had so much support. There were only 9 Republican senators that did not support the bill. So it's amazing how much support it had today. But yet all along, they couldn't come together to reach an agreement. But somehow in the last 60 minutes, they averted, a government shutdown. You gotta love this, right? You gotta love how they play these games here. Somebody said he pulled the alarm. Government Goldfinger. Goldfinger was actually a very good James Bond movie. There's probably like 50 James Bond movies out there, but I did like GoldenEye. Uh, let's see. Bowman is a typical Democrat. I'm just reading through the comments, guys. The country has gone to seed only 45 days because that is all the Republicans would give. They are in charge of this. Wow. Let's see here. Let's see. Bio. Let's see. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Princess Tanya says, "So I am. So am I. Love me some James Bond movies. Yeah, James Bond, man. That's a BA series. I'm just gonna keep it PG for you guys. Pretty sure the kids are not up late, but maybe they are. Bowman pulled a fire alarm. Says he thought it would open the door. Oh my God, these guys are freaking geniuses. Oh my God. Hold on a second. Let me just see if I can pull this up. Hold on one second. Bowman. I'm just typing in here. Bowman fire alarm. Google's already helping me out here. So Jamal Bowman pulls fire alarm. Oh wow. Hold on. I gotta read this one. So this is on New York Times wants me to sign in. Wait. Can I read it anyway? Okay, here we go. So New York Times says Representative Jamal Bowman pulls fire alarm in House office building. Mr. Bowman, a Democrat, pulled the alarm ahead of a rushed vote on a stopgap funding measure. 2 investigations have been opened to the incident. Okay, so Jamal Bowman, for whatever reason, ends up pulling this fire alarm on the very same day where we had less than an hour left to get this thing taken care of. Was he trying to sabotage this thing? Carlo, I appreciate the love. I really appreciate the super chat. How long do you think CBDC happen next year or next year? Well, I mean, honestly, the Federal Reserve, specifically speaking, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he said that they're not trying to push forward with this CBDC right now, right? But here's the thing. What they're saying versus what they're doing is not exactly in alignment. They've already set up, Fed Now. The Fed Now program essentially sets the infrastructure to allow CBDCs to be rolled out at any point. The infrastructure is there. So it's just a matter of, it's a little bit more than just pushing a button from the Federal Reserve standpoint. But if you look at what they're doing, they're trying to push us into a cashless society right now. I mean, look at it. You got most people paying almost everything with a credit card. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover Card, store cards. People are paying with more plastic than ever. So people are already helping the federal government move toward the CBDC. So most people are already kind of using digital currency now. Anytime you use a credit card, that's digital currency. Anytime you pay with Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or any type of, if you're paying for anything on an e-commerce platform like Amazon or eBay, name your favorite online website, that's already digital currency. So you're using a form of digital currency, but it's still cash technically, right? Through a credit card. Central bank digital currencies wouldn't be that much different if you think about it. But here's the thing. If you're already using credit, most people don't even have cash. And so society is actually making it easier for the feds to roll out the CBDCs. So I don't want to freak you out, but I did want to answer your question on that. So could it roll out next year? I think it could. I think it could roll out next year. It's possible in 2024 or 2025 for the CBDCs to roll out, but they're saying, they're not doing it right now. That's what they're saying. But what they say and what they do, if you pay attention, it's usually not the same, right? XRP, XLM, look into it, Black Swan. Okay, I'll take a look at that. So, but going back to Jamal Bowman, I think it's interesting that he ends up pulling this fire alarm. Like, was he trying to sabotage this thing? Was he trying to make it so that the stopgap bill didn't get approved today? I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he was doing it for that reason, but it's possible. It's plausible. Representative Jamal Bowman, Democrat of New York, pulled a fire alarm in the House Cannon office building on Saturday as his party was trying to delay a vote on a stopgap spending bill. This is coming from the New York Times, guys, prompting an evacuation of the building and investigations by the Capitol Police and the House Administration Committee. They had to evacuate the building, guys. I mean, this could easily be looked at as sabotage. I mean, is this a criminal offense? I don't I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. The alarm was triggered at the same time that House Democrats at the Capitol were stalling a vote on a spending measure to keep the government operating for another 45 days. Speaker Kevin McCarthy had unveiled the bill just minutes earlier, and Democrats were scrambling to read the bill and determine whether to support it. Later in the day, the bill passed 335 to 91, with more Democrats voting for it than Republicans. In a statement released Saturday night, Mr. Bowman said that he had not pulled the alarm to delay the vote. Hey, that's what he said, right? What's up, Kat? He did not pull the alarm to delay the vote, as some Republicans had presumed. He said that as he was rushing to the Capitol to cast a vote, he came to a door in the Cannon building that would not open. So apparently, I don't know how close the fire alarm was, but he said, quote, he said, I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm, mistakenly thinking it would open the door. I regret this and sincerely apologize for any confusion this may have caused, Mr. Bowman said. He further said, quote, but I want to be clear, this was not me in any way trying to delay any vote. It was the exact opposite. I was trying urgently to get to a vote, end quote. Okay. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Will you give Jamal Bowman the benefit of the doubt? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, I'll give him a pass. He added that he met with the sergeant at arms and Capitol Police after the incident at their request to explain what happened. The House Administration Committee began an inquiry on why the alarm was triggered and said the chairman, Representative Brian Steele, Republican of Wisconsin. He said in a statement, the Capitol Police said the building was briefly evacuated. Quote, an investigation into what happened and why actually continues. Yeah, so Wild Wild West, guys. Wild Wild West. So how much of this bill is going to the Ukraine? You know what? I haven't seen the exact details of this bill, so I can't say how much is going to the Ukraine, but I'm pretty sure that there is some there's some stacks in there that have been set aside for Ukraine. Again, I really think President Zelensky is using a lot of this money to remodel his house, to remodel his basement. He's buying some luxury cars probably out there. I don't know what they're doing with this money. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding with you guys. I don't know what the Ukraine is doing with all of this money. I don't know. You would think that with all of the financial resources that we've sent, that this war would be over by now. Henry Renfro, hold on. What Henry say? Henry said, pulling a fire alarm handle is like shouting fire in a crowded theater. He knew exactly what he was doing. As always, excuses, Democrats. Nothing will be done to him. I hear you, Henry. I hear you. IRD says, I think one part was $32 million. IRD, you think $32 million was going to the Ukraine? Let me know what you mean by that. Gaines Creation says, Gwen Thompson, I do not know what happens when people. Oh, okay. My bad. She's talking to somebody else in the chat. My bad. I thought she was talking to me. Linda Nash says, money laundering, I've heard. Yeah, could be that. EMT 623. You should be okay, but always read prior to purchase. Gotcha. So, yeah, guys. Little Wing says 300 million this time, but so far it's total 138 billion. Ukrainian oligarchs buying mansions and super yachts. Hey, wouldn't be surprised. I don't know how many of you guys remember Robin Leach's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I wouldn't be surprised if President Zelensky showed up on one of those types of shows, or the equivalent, or maybe even MTV Cribs. Maybe MTV goes out to the Ukraine and does a MTV Cribs of Zelensky's mansion. Anyway, guys, but yeah, I wanted to give you guys this quick update. Well, so much for a quick update, but I wanted to give you guys this breaking news. President Biden did ultimately sign off on the stopgap funding bill. Gives us another 45 days of breathing room. Social Security and SSI recipients, looks like their COLA announcement on October 12th is going to be back on track. So that's good news for a lot of people who are depending on that information so that they can do their budgeting and whatnot. They can know exactly what kind of checks to expect from Social Security. Barbara Haymaker, she says, I heard about SSDI getting a one-time $1,825 deposit starting October 2nd. Is this true? A one-time $1,825 deposit. I don't know anything about that. Not for everyone. Like SSDI. I don't know anything about that. Let me just do a quick search because I don't remember seeing anything about an $1,800 payment going to SSDI recipients. But let me just check right quick. Let me see if I can source some information here. Congressional Budget Office. Let me see if, oh wait, hold on. 1825. That's not it. How about 1825 like that? No, that's not it. I don't see it. Let me just check one other place. I try to keep all my information in one place so I can find it quickly. So here's the thing. The $1,825 that you're asking about might be this here. So what was the average Social Security payment in each month of 2023? As of December 2022, the average Social Security payment for retirees was $1,681. This jumped up to $1,825 for January 2023, thanks to the cost of living adjustment. So basically, the average Social Security payment that most people are receiving across the United States is $1,825. So technically, on average, people who are getting Social Security are getting a $1,825 check at the beginning of the month. But, you know, are you going to get one? That's another story. So again, it's just an average. Anyway, guys, 449 people in here. Drop some likes for the video. I hope you guys enjoy the content. I'm almost with a cotton mouth and a sore throat right now, so I'm going to go ahead and end the live. But I do appreciate spending this evening with you. I hope you enjoyed the content. Drop a like. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already. I'll leave a link for you guys as a pinned comment and in the description of this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night.